Welcome to the No Psych, No Excuses podcast, where we have real, raw, authentic conversation. Here's your host, Kijuan Amey. Are here for our season finale. Season 1 is at the end, guys, and I know y'all appreciated the series, just to the No Psych, No Excuses podcast, man. I tell you, it's been a journey first and foremost. Different things that I've endured, the different things I've done, what y'all have heard about. Oh man, it's been such a great season, and I know y'all are excited because y'all probably like, well, what is he gonna do for the season finale? Let's bring back another guest. So, man, listen, we're gonna do this for just the last episode of this season, but trust and believe, I will be back. So, without further ado, my guy, Mr. Worldwide himself, Jesse Cruz. Bring him to the stage, please. Man, how are you doing today, Jesse?
I'm doing awesome. How about you, my man?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good, man. I cannot complain. It's a pleasure and an honor to have you here first and foremost on my podcast. I appreciate everything we've worked together on, and being able to work with you in regards to the speaking competition. What the guys have already heard about who've listened to my podcast faithfully, because I did have an episode about it. But we'll get more into that here in momentarily. But first and foremost about you, a lot of people don't know you also yourself are an award-winning speaker, but you done outdone me just a little bit. You're international, okay? You're international. You're a best-selling author. You got your business merged worldwide, man. Just come on, tell us more about you, man. We'll appreciate that.
Yeah, I get the opportunity to help entrepreneurs learn how to tell stories that create impact and income from the stage. And so I get the opportunity to do that through my one-to-one coaching, our online speaker community, and then my wife and I, we host a variety of conferences and retreats throughout the United States, Mexico, and Italy.
Yeah, man. Yeah, no, listen, if y'all don't know Desiree, she's an amazing person. He couldn't have had a better rib in his career, okay? She's awesome. Listen, when I went to, because, yeah, the speaker competition was the first time I met her. Because I remember you guys coming to North Carolina, but she didn't come with you as far as meeting me. She stayed with the children. And golly, man, like when I first met her in New York, I was like, what kind of dynamic duo is this? If you know what I mean? Because if you forgot something, it was like she was right there to pick up the pieces, man. And I loved it. It was such an amazing tag team. It's almost like that's what you need in your life. I don't like to say back pocket because I like to keep, my women in my front pocket. So because the back pocket is where my wallet is. I don't want it back there. No, but seriously, yeah, man, it was just such a truly an honor and a pleasure to meet her. She called me her superhero, and I was like, whoa, calm down. But I get it. Everybody sees the things I've been through and have still gone through, and they're just so amazed and impressed. And I was like, with God, all things are possible. So that's the biggest thing. And you, sir, as well as your wife, are faith believers as well, which I truly admire, because it's one thing that people overlook. Like they're like, oh yeah, I made it. I'm self-made. This, that, the third. Hey man, you're nothing without God. I'm telling you right now, it doesn't work. And so I truly appreciate you guys, shining and spotlighting that. So yeah, I appreciate it, man.
Mhm.
Now, when did you first realize your story changed lives? Like motivated, it healed. When did you realize that?
I think I realized it as I was going through it because I had gone through a significant loss in my life.
Mm-hmm.
What got me through it is my faith in God, my wife and children. But I started writing about my pain every single day,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
the more that I shared my story, the more that I healed. And then I realized, like, man, if sharing your story can bring healing and hope to my life, I know this could do the same thing for other people. So continue to evolve over time, from writing books to speaking on stages to being able to coach other people how to speak as well.
Hmm. Yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, no, I've worked with you as well, and in both areas, not just speaking wise, but actually creating stages. So I definitely appreciated the knowledge that you brought to it, and it made it like really truly. And I love saying this. It really opened my eyes. I truly love saying stuff like that. But it did. It really did. And I was like, wow, that is something that is like not it's not some crazy concept. It's actually like, wow, why did I think of that? Like it's almost one of those things. But that's what coaches are for. You know what I mean? That's exactly what mentors and coaches are for. They're just be like, dude, let me show you. Come on, let me pull you along. Get your wagon. We got this. So but yeah, no, you are definitely a coach that I enjoyed working with. And still, till today, even in our group on Facebook, I enjoy seeing the posts in there and how people are striving to be better and literally going out here and doing the dang thing. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So it's awesome, man. And again, going back to your wife, her and her warrior women's warrior. I can't remember the phrase, but
Or your
the
women.
yeah, warrior women's man. That right there, she is all over it, man. She bring women and make them shine. Okay, and so I truly appreciate her. But going back to you, man, and how you've coached people with their speaking, what are some of the biggest like mistakes you see people have?
I mean, the biggest thing is usually a mindset block. They don't believe that they have a story worth sharing. They don't believe that they can make a difference. And so
Mhm,
it's really helping them get out of their own way and helping them realize that they have a valuable message that needs to be shared, and then helping them craft that talk in a way that can attract the right people they're called to serve.
mhm. Yeah. Yeah, no, I completely agree with that wholeheartedly. Being a speaker myself, um, it's one of those things you just have to be able to, as some of my listeners already know and have seen the videos of me, you got to show that confidence first and foremost. You can't be up there all timid, and they're gonna see it. It's gonna reveal itself at some point.
Mm.
And then you can't be too anxious either, because I remember seeing that when we were in New York just a few months ago. That right there was kind of one of those moments. Uh, I call it "slow down, Tina" moment. That's my new phrase, man. I don't care what nobody says. That's my new phrase, man. But we just have to keep that calm, cool composure. Nobody knows what you're talking about but you. Understand that and embody the mindset that comes along with it. So I completely agree with that wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
Now we're gonna shift gears here a little bit, and we're gonna go to that lovely speaker competition you had up in Rushville, New York, back in October, man, of 2025, which I just so happened to have the pleasure and the honor of not only going to and attending, but winning. Man, listen, that was first off, it was my first one ever, which I told my audience about already. But I really truly enjoyed it. Like it was so I don't know how to put it. It's like really fun. Like it's just enjoyable. The people that we got to meet, not just, I always talk about your wife, but not just her, but everybody that showed up. Even the people that it was their first time, not just at a speakers competition, but ever speaking in front of people. These types of things. So, the question that I have for you is, excuse me, tell us about how that event came together and what was your vision behind it.
Yeah. I mean, this is an event we have done since 2022, but I was given a theme for this one that really spoke to me, and listening to some worship music. There's a song called Miracles,
Mm,
and I've heard the song a million times. I absolutely love the song, but for some reason, a while back, I felt God was saying, you know what? This needs to be the theme of the event. It's miracles. because I believe that everyone is a walking miracle in some
Mm.
capacity, and it's just they haven't realized it yet, right? I think we're all like miracles in motion every day, and so I really wanted it to be a place where people could share their story of overcoming, and also see God's goodness in their life, and to be a beautiful testimony to the people in the room. So um, that event was my favorite. We've done a lot of events, but that one was my favorite just because the I feel like it was a faith-filled room. I feel like
Yeah.
a lot of spiritual breakthroughs that happened in that room.
Mhm.
I was able to see healing and connections that were just so deep and powerful that it was just such an incredible experience.
Oh yeah. It's amazing because actually I got to talk to recently uh a young lady in the UK who said she was supposed to be there, but she didn't have the means of getting there. Uh, she goes by the name of Kate Stapleton. She says hello, by the way,
I can.
and yeah, and she was like, I wanted to go, but I promised him I'll come next year. So she does say hello. um, and in other news, so I know because I was there at the speakers competition, there was a panel of judges. Now, Jesse, if you were one of those judges, what would you have been looking for in a winner?
Yeah, so a lot of it comes down to knowing your content. Sometimes speakers are on stage, but they're not very clear on what they're
Mhm.
talking about. So for me, it really comes down to clarity. It's like,
Mhm.
do you know your message? Do you also know your audience? And do you have the passion when you speak, right? So you got to have really strong delivery as well. And being able to hook the audience's attention and then keep their attention through storytelling and then really concluding with a strong closing statement, I believe are key factors when evaluating a speech.
Yeah. Now, when you say hook and keep the audience attention, is that kind of like when you go over time and you still have the audience's attention, like me?
Something like that. Not exactly, but I'll say the keeping attention through sharing stories that really connect with people and open up their mind, get them connected to your message. I think it's very important. And also, yes, staying on time is also
Yeah,
very important.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I definitely took great notes on that, and I was given great notes by the judges as well. They were like, "Hey, man, maybe you should, keep a timer in your pocket that lets you know how much time you have left." And I said, "Note taken." And that was something that they talked about in the beginning of the competition when we were doing the classroom type portion. They were like, "Hey, if you hear some notes, if you hear nuggets and you're not, using them, then that's on you. That's actually going against you." But see, I was taking those notes and applying them, and that was what helped me win because I did not go over the second day. So, I knocked it out of the park the second day actually and had plenty like, just like what was it, like, maybe 5 seconds to spare? Yeah, so, but yeah. Now, what stood out about this year's competition, like, experiences, moments, just in general, what things stood out to you?
Oh man, there's quite a few things. A couple I'll touch on is I think we've been blessed with the ability to attract, I believe, some of the greatest human beings on the planet.
Mm,
Being in a room full of people who are faith filled, they're driven, they're passionate, they are purpose focused on the mission that they have is huge, right? So that was very special. It's just like when you have a room like that, it can change your life. And so witnessing those things happen is incredible. Seeing how every single speaker on day two improved just is a testament to the hunger and drive for the speakers to learn, but then also the panel of coaches that I brought in to teach and educate in the trainings that I did as well from stage, that all the speakers were implementing very quickly everything that they learned from day one. So watching every speaker improve in just one day in their public speaking is incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was awesome. It was awesome. Listen, I can't um give praise to Dennis enough. Man, he went from a guy that really didn't know how to say anything to a guy that was going over and say, "Oh, wait, I thought I had 10 minutes." He was like, and when I say it, to me, it was like his light bulb came on. It was like, "Yeah, man, I'm here now. I understand what my mission is, and it's to speak, and people actually want to hear me." And when I saw that, man, that right there, and his wife being there too, man, it was like, oh man, they w- from him being so quiet, reserved, to going to, hey man, you really do a good job. And we were now talking about different things outside of the speaker competition. And so I appreciated him for growing, like you said. It was literally growth. So yeah, you're right. Now, what advice would you give to a speaker who wants to compete in a speakers competition but feel, intimidated or unqualified?
Yeah, well, I think it comes down to having a good coach. So I tell that to all the speakers, like, whether someone hires me to help them with their keynote speech or they hire somebody else, just hire somebody. Like, literally, just invest into yourself, hire a coach, do what they tell you to do, right? Because they know what they're talking about, and
Mhm.
follow the path. Like, because typically people think they can just try to figure out on their own and they can
Yeah.
YouTube their way to success. Yes, you can get some wins that way. You can have some progress, but at the end of the day, you're going to need a coach and a mentor to guide you along the path. So if
Mhm.
someone's feeling intimidated by being a part of something like that, make sure you just have a coach, right? And so that's at our event, I make sure to train all of our speakers prior, right? And so they're not just going up on stage, completely clueless as to what to do. And so I'm
Yeah.
making sure to provide training prior to that, right? And then for the people who, really want to grow at a different level, those who invest into the one-to-one type of coaching, you should get the best results.
Yeah, no, I completely agree because I actually had a conversation with someone while we were at the competition in regards to coaching. And they they mentioned to me about one of their coaches, not you, it was some other coach they had. And I was like, they did what? It was literally, it was like one of those uh tips they gave them, and I said, I don't know if I would use that. I mean, if that's what you want to do you, man. But I don't think I would do that. I've never heard that in all my coaching. Okay. I've been getting coaches since 2019. I've never heard that, brother. But you go ahead and do, and I've been coached by some of the best. Okay. Where I'm paying tens of thousands of dollars a pop. Okay. And so that was one of the things that really stuck out to me in regards like to you know people feeling intimidated because like I said before, there were people who did feel intimidated. They felt unqualified. They didn't feel like they were supposed to be on stage because they had never done it. And once you get that bug or get that monkey off your back, as I would say, it's almost like it's like you're free. Nothing's really holding you anymore. And now you have to control. It's now your turn to control. There's no longer a puppet master. So I agree, man, with you on that. So excuse me. Now, as a speaker yourself, how do you prepare before stepping on the stage? Mentally, spiritually.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely stay in prayer. Uh,
Hmm.
I practice. So, I just spoke a couple times this month. I got hired to speak in Kansas City. Then I got hired to speak in Rochester.
Yeah, I've been
So
seeing you.
for those presentations, I literally I give my entire talk out loud, and I practice it over and over and over again in real time, and I deliver the message like it's a room full of people. I'll be in the room by myself, like I'll shut the door in my bedroom and I'll just give the whole talk from beginning to end. And I'll just, as I'm doing it, I'll reflect. I'm like, ooh, that was good. Ooh, you know what? That didn't land very well. I didn't like the way that sounded. And so I give the talk several times before I actually deliver it. Um, and then I go and prayed up to, just praying that God give me the words to speak to these people to touch their
Hmm.
heart, difference in their life.
Yep. Completely agree. Because every time before I got on stage, whenever you came and told me I was next, guess what I did? I went into prayer right then and there because I knew I was getting ready to go. And so whenever I'm getting ready to speak to an audience, I said, Lord, just give me what you want them to have. What needs to come out of my mouth to give to them so that they will be receptive. I don't want them just listening, like falling, as we say, falling on deaf ears. I want it to be receptive. And so I do that every time. I don't care if it's at church, the speakers competition. It could be I could be speaking to a sports team for all I care. I'm going to pray every time because I don't want it to be coming from me. You know what I mean? I can write one of the best essays, speeches you ever seen, and it'd get a D.
Hmm.
But if he writes it, that ain't getting no D. You know what I mean? We're gonna
Yeah.
get an amen corner in the back, okay? But so real quick, winning that first place trophy, man, it was amazing first and foremost. But it showed me that winners are not built on stage. They're built in the dark. Okay. It's what you do off stage that really matters. Now, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, I believe that to become a professional, you practice 10 times as much as you perform.
Hmm.
Right?
Hmm.
That's what professionals do. They're in practicing mode. Whereas amateurs, they don't practice and they focus on just the main event, the performance. Like, and for me to be an offstage speaker, that means you are always investing into your growth. You're practicing your talks. You're always learning. You're connecting. You're always in student mode, right? That's what professionals are, always students. Whereas amateurs think they're just the teacher, right? A professional is willing enough to be humble enough to say, you know what, I'm going to be in student mode, right? Over and over again. And then I'll be in teaching mode, right? Where I can be the leader of the room. But professionals, I think, constantly have to invest in their own growth and development, consistently research, study, practice new techniques and new strategies. And I think that's what separates the two.
Yeah. There's one quote I'll never forget from my high school football coach. He said, if you don't like football, or he said, if you don't like practicing football, then you definitely won't like playing. He was like, what? He was like, you're going to practice this game way more than you're going to play it. The game is played on Friday. We practice 4 days before that. And he was like, you get that? 4 to 1. And we all were like, we all were like, oh, dang, you're right. You know what I'm saying? But it makes sense. You have to practice way more to get prepared for what the final product is going to be.
Hmm.
Because if it's not polished throughout the week, you're going to look like a bunch of trash. I'll put it this way: for those who know NFL, I'll do it that way because they play different days. They play Thursday, they play Sunday and Monday are the main days. Okay, this week they're going to throw a Friday game in. But anyway, Thursday, Sunday, and Monday are the main days. Now, if you just got done playing on Sunday and they throw you on a Thursday game instead of another Sunday game, guess what just happened? Your week just got shortened. You now have less days to prepare for that next team. You
Mm.
know what I'm saying? So, and it's a different opponent. Now, guess what? You better use every bit of your professionalism to be ready for that next one. Because they probably got had a week off or had 10 days off or something, and they ready for you. But that's just a scenario or a scenario I would give everybody. Now, here's a good question for you. How does Merge Worldwide help future speakers, those who feel underrated or just don't feel prepared or whatever it is? How do they help them find their voices?
Hmm. They're able to find their voices by getting clarity on the problem that they want to solve. So I believe speakers are not just speakers, they're problem solvers. And so it's hard to find your voice if you don't know the message that you want to share with the world. And so that clarity is going to be important of saying this is the problem that I want to help solve in the world. And this is the audience that I want to serve. And then this is how I will do it. And so
Mhm.
once they're able to get clarity on those key components, they're able to find their voice. Because in the beginning, most of the speakers, they're watching other speakers, and yes, you want to learn from other speakers and take the good things that they do, but I think early on speakers try to be copycats of other speakers
Mhm.
because they're trying to be someone else. And my
Yeah.
encouragement to them is like, yes, learn from other speakers, but always be authentic to who God has called you to be.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you can't obviously research and study other speakers, but yes, I think you should do that. But then always remember that you were not given their assignment and they were not given yours. You were given one specific assignment to deliver your message in a way that God has called you to speak it.
Yeah. I don't know if you noticed me. I started smiling and laughing. Why? Because so I've been trained by Eric Thomas. He calls himself the hip hop preacher, and he also goes by ET. Okay, so ET talks about people he's trained, and then the next thing you hear is, "Hey, it's your boy. Hey, it's your boy." That's what ET does. That's not what you're supposed to do. And what he's saying is, you get a whole bunch of people taking on his lines. Hey, it's your boy Kijuan Amey, or they're up there yelling on stage like he does. That's his mantra. That's how he operates, not you. He said you get a whole bunch of people yelling, and instead of them yelling like me, I have passion behind what I'm saying. They're just yelling to an audience. He's like, dude, that's not what I coached you. I didn't coach you to be me. I coached you on how to be a speaker, not to be ET, but to be a speaker. And man, he actually had that. He had that talk on a podcast, um, the Success Podcast. I think is what it's called. The Secrets to Success is what it's called. But like, man, listen, boy, I was laughing so hard because I've actually heard those videos, and I'm like, who is this? Well, that's not Eric Thomas. And I can't see, so I'm like trying to listen to it. Like, that's not Eric Thomas. Somebody doing a bad impression. But anyway, yeah, I just wanted to throw that in there, that example in there, because I have heard that, when it comes to, finding your voice per se. Now let's move a little bit into faith, purpose, and leadership, because as we know, we're both faith driven people. We both have purpose and we both are leaders. So, a question I have for you, as faith driven leaders, how do we balance confidence and humility?
Hmm. Yeah, I think this is a struggle for people, I would say, who have faith in God actually struggle with this more than people
Mm,
who, because I think people of faith think that if they're on social media and they're talking about how great their product or service is, that they're becoming arrogant, they're becoming salesy, they're becoming prideful. And I just don't think that's the case. I believe that if God has given you a great product or a great service or a great message to share with the world, and you don't share it with other people, what you're actually doing is you're hurting the kingdom.
mm,
And I believe when faithful people get to the point where they accept that, yes, you can, your ministry can be in the marketplace, and it's actually okay to um, produce income. Because if you really care about, maybe serving the church, or there's charities or ministries that you want to donate and give to, then if you're able to generate more revenue, you're actually able to give more. And I think that as long as we always give credit and we give glory to the Most High, then I believe that'll keep people of the faith humble. And so it's a fine line, right? So
yeah,
we don't want to get the praise for ourselves and say how great I am, but it's like how great is God through me?
that's
We're
it.
just called
That's
to
it.
be a vessel and an instrument of God's greatness and goodness in our lives, right? We can't do it on our own. We can't do it without Him. And we just need to be people who point other people in the dark to the light. And I think when you share your story and you share your gift with the world, and you can point people back to the one who is the giver of the gift, that will keep you humble. And so I think that's a never ending journey. As believers, we got to find ways to um, have that humility, and at the same exact time, be completely confident in who the person that God has called you to be.
Hmm. So it sounds like what I heard there was hashtag TGBTG. To God be the glory.
Yes.
That's what I heard. That's all I'm saying. So you talk a lot about purpose, man. How do you help people uncover their purpose?
I think first it comes down to processing painful parts of your life.
Hmm.
So people oftentimes, if they have gone through a traumatic experience or a
Yeah.
crisis of some sort, uh, typically they can respond in a way that is not productive or healthy to their future self. And so they can get stuck and trapped in what happened to them. And so I think it's just shifting the mindset. Even the worst of things don't necessarily happen to you, they happen for you. And if someone can make that mindset shift, that it didn't happen to you, it happened for you, that does not mean what happened was not traumatic. That does not
Hmm.
mean what happened wasn't painful and life altering, because man, we've all gone through painful things that we can
Yeah.
never change. They're done, it's over with.
Yeah.
However, if we're able to see God's goodness through it, if we're able to grow in our character and be more Christ like, then it wasn't done to us, it was done for us.
Right. Exactly. And I often tell people podcast related when I'm on the stage, whatever it is, that God allowed this to happen to me. And I always reference, because I know I get a side eye every now and then, but I always reference the book of Job. And he talks about how he allowed Satan to do these things, but he said, the one thing you cannot do is touch the soul. That's mine. I don't care what else you do. I don't care what you do. You can touch his family, the crops, anything else, his wealth. I don't care. But don't you touch that soul. Or it's me and you. You know what I'm saying? He had it out with it right there. And so what I always think about is, if, and don't get me wrong, I didn't want a Job experience at all. Don't get me wrong. But I said, if I could get through this, God's gonna give me double for my trouble. Because that's exactly what he did for Job. And that's the biggest thing that I think about nowadays, man.
Hmm.
So how has God shown up for you, in the in ways that shape your speaking and coaching?
During the most challenging moments of my life, I remember just crying out to God. I was in a very dark place, lonely place, questioning why I was even here. What is my purpose?
Mhm.
And over time, I realized that just because I'm going through a painful season of my life doesn't mean He's not there. It doesn't mean that He's unfair. It doesn't mean that He forgot or doesn't care. What I have learned is during my most painful moments is actually when I need God the most. And it's actually when He's revealed His goodness to me. And I believe that because I have gone through, a good amount of unfair circumstances in my life, painful losses, that it has allowed me to be more clear on my purpose. It has strengthened that relationship with Him. And so, just as you mentioned, like, I don't want that Job experience. I feel like I've had that Job experience. I didn't want that Job experience. It was the
Mhm.
worst experience of my life.
Yeah.
Um, what I've been able to take from that is the people I've been able to meet, the stories I've been able to share, the friends I've been able to have, the family that I've built is all from the most painful moment of my life. And
Yep.
I believe if people can be aware that pain truly is preparation for purpose,
Mm.
what I've learned.
That was well put together, sir. I tell you what, I am 100% in alliance with you when you say like there's no way we would have came into contact had my accident not happened. There's no way we would have came in contact had you not gone through what you went through. Because every and I don't like to say everything happens. Well, everything does happen for a reason, but I don't believe in coincidences. Everything happened for a reason because that's the only way the world works. You don't get somewhere without getting in a car or putting your feet to the pavement. Okay, it doesn't happen. You're not just gonna magically float. There's no carpet. Okay, this isn't Aladdin.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So everything happens for a reason, and I completely agree with what you just said about that. That was awesome. Um, now, what is one client testimony? And you might have multiple, but what is one client testimony, or just I don't know, transformation that gives you chills, man? You just still remember it to this day.
There's quite a few,
Yeah, I figured.
but I remember a client from the past who he had never spoke before, and
Mm,
hired me to work with him, and um, it was great. And he actually won our one of our competitions years ago,
mhm,
and his story he shared. I mean, it was so powerful. And then I actually got to watch him speak at a school in front of hundreds and hundreds of kids. He got a paid gig, and I was able to be there
mhm,
because it was where I live. And when I was in the room, I sat front row, watched my client take the stage in front of several hundreds of children and inspire them, move them to tears, run up and give him a hug,
mhm,
asking for his autograph, treating him like a celebrity, the
mhm.
impact that he made on their lives, and being able to sit front row and just knowing that I've been a part of this journey with him, and now seeing him, he speaks all over the nation regularly. That has been one of the most beautiful things I've been able to experience.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that is when I was listening to you talk and you talk about how the kids ran up to him, it reminds me of when I was in elementary school and we used to have this guy come in. I can't remember his name right now, but he used to come in and he used to do this song for us. I was in kindergarten, dude, and he was like, I don't know if he was a poet guy or a rapper, whatever he was, but either way, he would come in and rap this song about the alphabet, and he called it "Alphabet It Is." That was the name of the song, "Alphabet It Is." And it goes, "Alphabet it is. If you think it is, alphabet it is. Now A is for the apple that man." And when I tell you he goes in, oh, and goes all the way through the alphabet, dude, we would be like, "Alphabets are awesome." The alphabet is awesome. And he would just come in and do that all the time. And we would try to get him in there at least twice a year, to do it. And he did it for our class personally, but he also did it in the auditorium. You know what I mean? Like with a microphone. And man, I just tell you, dude, the like you said, the impact that it had on us. And all he was doing was rapping about the alphabet, dude.
Hmm. Right.
See, it's what it's about more so than who. We were like, "Yo, this is dope." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, I completely agree about that. Um, Now what I will say before we move on to the next segment, I want to, ask because you have an angel by the name of Faith, and I just want you to give you a little room to talk about her.
Yeah. My wife and I, prayed for a child for years, and then we were blessed with a baby girl. And when she was born, she was 4 months early. She was only 1 pound, literally could fit in the palm of my hand. That's how tiny she was.
Hmm.
And then 42 days of her fighting for her life, she passed away. And worst moment of my life, that's where I spiraled.
Hmm.
I wish I could say it was just like, oh, I healed right away and I got through. No, it was a horrible experience. It
Yeah.
almost cost me my life because I,
Mm.
I remember thinking that I should just die because I really felt no purpose for living anymore. I saw
Yeah.
no value in being alive, and I was even to the point where as I was crying myself to sleep some nights, I would say, God, just please take me. Like I don't want.
Hmm.
And then I would wake up the next day, and I remember being mad at God that He didn't take my life.
Mm.
That's how hopeless I was.
Hmm.
And what got me through it was, I went to counseling. I did therapy. I did group counseling. I was connected with my church and my wife and my children that, they were just great, right? They just still loved on me, even though I didn't feel worthy or deserving of that love. And God never left. And writing my story is what really brought me into focus on how to process all of that. I would not be on this podcast. I never would have met you. I would not
Hmm.
be on stages. I wouldn't have books, events, coaching. I would be doing none of these things if it wasn't for her. And she was such an inspiration to me because every day I saw her fight for her life. And I realized, like, man, if this little 1 pound girl that no one's even met can make this much of an impact across the planet, just imagine, what I can do if I keep fighting and doing what God has called me to do.
Yeah, man. I tell you that when I heard that story at the speakers competition, I was like, he's got everything to live for at this point because that angel's not gonna let him stop. She's gonna keep pushing you every chance you get. Like, Dad, no, you gotta keep going for me. You know? Oh man, like when I heard the story, I was just like, what? He did what? Now, I know about your other children, but I was like, wait, you had another one? And yeah, that story really touched, of course, a lot of people, not just me, because there were tears in there. And we all know how it went, but I was just like, sheesh. Yeah. So that was something I could not leave off with that segment. And I thought that was a good way of wrapping that segment up. But now we're gonna get into how you are doing things for the new year and what's to be expected from you, sir. So first, before we move into the new year, let's talk about this past year. What was your biggest personal or professional, I would say, lesson in 2025?
I would say, from a personal standpoint, my relationship with God is, I gave my life, to the Lord, over 10 years ago. And
Mhm,
I always knew, from that point on, Jesus was, my savior.
mhm,
But it wasn't until I feel 2025 is where he became my Lord.
mhm.
And there's a difference,
Yeah.
something that faithful people say, my Lord and Savior. Well, I knew he died and rose again for me. I knew I was a sinner. I knew all that. I know that, but I just didn't make him Lord over my life. I would only allow him to be Lord over maybe certain parts of my life. And then
Mm,
to the point where I'm like, I just want him to be Lord over all of my life. Obviously, it's always going to be a journey and a battle for certain parts that are harder than others. But I think that was one of the valuable lessons I learned is like, I tell people I have faith in God, right? But then I live with a lack mindset. I tell people that, God is the way, and then I'm always stressed out. And so it's like I feel like I wasn't really submitting to his will for my life.
mhm,
I was only giving him pieces and parts that I felt comfortable
mm.
handing off. And so now I'm getting to the point where I'm more willing and open to giving him more parts of my life, and just submitting to the assignment he's given me completely, and trusting that even when it's painful, even when it's hard, that I know that all things work together for the good of those who are called according to his purpose.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, man. Ooh, you hit some nails on the head right there. And I know when some people hear this, they gonna be like, "Ooh, he's speaking facts." um, golly, I really don't need to say nothing about that. But what I will say is there is a song, and it goes by, I think it's called "Lord of All." It's a really good song, by the way. Nice groove to it and everything. But as soon as you started talking about Lord of All, that's the first song that came to my mind. I forget who it's by right now, but yeah, that's a good one. So if you get a chance, check it out, and that goes for my listeners too. If you get a chance, check that song out, Lord of All. But yeah, man, what's next for you and Merge Worldwide in 2026?
Yeah, man, we have a couple really great events coming up in March. We have our cruise, so that event is going to be incredible. We've doubled the size of people going to that event, so more connections, more breakthroughs. So that's going to be incredible in March, and then in June we have our retreat in Italy. So those are our two events that we have coming up over the next 6 or 7 months.
Okay. What part of Italy you guys going to?
We go to the Amalfi Coast, so the
Oh, okay.
southern region of Italy.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I've this year. Yeah, this year because I talked about it on my podcast. I went to flew into Venice, and we did get to spend some time there. And then I also went to, of course, Aviano, and there were some other parts of Italy around that area. I didn't realize how mountainous Italy was
Oh yeah,
until I got there.
for sure.
uh, yeah, man. And then this Ferrari comes flying past us on the highway. It's got a little Ferrari, like, shoo! We in a Ford Fusion. That's like, okay. But yeah, no, Italy is nice, man. I just love the food over there. So
Oh
I know you guys do.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, the
Yeah.
southern. We've been to the northern and the southern, and completely different vibes, but both are amazing.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. Um, let's see here. For those who are listening, and feel unseen or unheard, what are some, actionable steps they could take?
Yeah. I mean, I just made a post about this yesterday because I see that there's so many people that want to share their message. The problem is typically one is that they just don't know what to talk about. That's the main thing. And then they don't have the clarity on when they do commit what they want to talk about, they don't have the clarity on how to communicate it. And then
Mm,
the last piece is that they do not actually share the content out.
mm, mm.
Having all these great ideas serves nobody by keeping it to yourself. Having a great message and a story to share with other people, keeping it to yourself is one of the most selfish things anyone can do because you're not able to help anybody by keeping it to yourself. And so that is my encouragement to people is like literally, and people say, well, I don't have access, I don't have a network. Well, the beauty is that if you have a phone, you have a stage, you go online, your social media account, and you hit record and you upload that video. And now you have created an audience. And so it's just literally starting right where you're at and start with the content that you do have and can create and start sharing it out. Because a lot of times people want to wait until the content is perfect. And if you're waiting for the content to be perfect before you post it, you'll never actually post it. And so I say take imperfect action now.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's great advice because we all wait for that perfect moment, but that'll never come. There's no such thing as perfection. And I started to rephrase the practice makes perfect. No, practice makes better. It makes you better. You could say perfect all you want. At some point something's gonna mess up, and now it's no longer perfect. Whether it's the technology, whether it's something you hiccuped and said, or whatever. Something's gonna hiccup, and now it's no longer perfect. So are you not gonna release the content because there was a small hiccup? No, you're gonna release it. It makes you human now. And that's what another thing that people like to connect to is human. Like humanity is really fading with the AI push. And so a lot of people tell me, hey man, you should post more because we want to see your human side. We get it. You love to sit behind that computer, stuff like that. But hey, show us you're outside. Show us you doing something. Show it. I said, okay, I'll show you. And so when I was just at the UNC versus Duke football game for my birthday, I took pictures. I took pictures of that when I went out to eat. I took pictures. These are the different things that they like to. Basically, it's like being inside of your life in a sense. Oh, I get to see what it's like to be in a day of your life. And they really do like to feel that connection versus feeling like they're just behind the screen and never get to know what you do or who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Versus or all they know is that you're a speaker, you're an author, you're a podcaster. That's all they know. They
Mm-hmm.
don't know what you do on a daily, So
Yeah.
I do agree with what you said there.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're wrapping up the episode here. And I just want to know, what's one message that you want to leave with my audience here at No Sight, No Excuses?
The message that you're most scared to share is the same message your audience needs to hear.
Mm,
I think so many people take their pain and find a way to become a victim of it, not realizing that the exact thing that was designed to hurt you also was created to help you. And if you let the hurt help you, it'll also empower you to help other people. That is why it is your moral obligation to intentionally decide to heal from the pain and then share how you healed with as many people as humanly possible so you can give them permission to heal too.
that's powerful, man. That's a mic drop all in itself. Um, yeah. Listen, Jesse, again, I truly appreciate you coming on to that podcast, man. We can't thank you enough. The No Sight No Excuses community. We do appreciate you because again, without you, that might not be a me. You know what I'm saying? Because I did go through your coaching. I did go through your speaking competition, and that was all a part of my podcast. You know what I'm saying? So I have episodes about you and about Rushville, New York, and about the people I networked with there. Um, it was truly an experience, to say the least, and I got to experience a part of New York that I never would have got to experience had I met you.
Mm-hmm.
So, Canandaigua was really nice.
Oh, beautiful.
Man, and it treated me even better, So, I just wanna say, man, thank you first and foremost. Um, Thank you for having me as a client, and I appreciate your coaching. If you do need some coaching, reach out to Jesse Cruz because he is a dynamic speaker coach and he can help you clarify your message and get you going in the right direction when it comes to speaking. Hey, even though you were Army, I won't hold that against you. I'm just saying.
I appreciate that. I won't hold against Air Force against you either.
I listen. I will not hold that against you because the Air Force understood the assignment. We were supposed to separate and get away from you guys. We understood what was. But no, seriously, I truly appreciate you, my man, and much love to you and your wife and your kids, man. Have a blessed and a beautiful 2026, man. Much love.
Appreciate you.
Yes, sir.